Садись. Привыкай. Садись. Привыкай сидеть, потом привыкай лежать. Года 34 назад я делал вот там, делали мы. Ну, вдруг не поставил такой, ну, проверил, вперед немножко, знаешь, полный робот. И я попался назад. Хорошо, я успел выиграть, попал нам посмотреть, что случилось. Не царапили ничего, не переломали сразу. Но нога стала мотать. Я понял, в общем, история уже давно была. Да, они сказали, у тебя не перелом, трещина.
So we're going to begin now. Time out. We're going to begin with the Psalm. Psalm. On page 6. I'll read in Hebrew and then we'll join together. Mizmor LeDavid Adonai Ro'i Lo Echsar V'nodesha Yarvitzeni Al Mei Menuchot Yenachaleni Nafshi Yeshovev Yancheni B'Magalei Tzedek L'Man Shemo Gam Ke'elech B'Geit Salmavet Lo Ira Ra Ki Ata Imadi Shivtecha U'Mishantecha Hema Yenachamuni Ta'aroch Lefanai Shulchan Neged Sorerai Lishanta Vashemen Roshi Posir Raya Ach Tov Chesed Yerdefuni Kol Yamei Chayai V'Shavti B'Beit Adonai L'Orech Yamim. Please join me in the English, a psalm of David. The Eternal is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures. God leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul. God guides me in straight paths for God's name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You have anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. I shall dwell in the house of the Eternal forever. We are gathered in very unusual circumstances to bid farewell to the earthly part of Tzviya, Izia, Yitzchak. The fact that he has died in this time forces us to accept that we're not able to give him the proper honor, the proper respect that we would in normal times. It is our custom that we begin the moment of a funeral with the tradition of kriya, the tearing of the ribbon. And what I'd like to do is to ask everybody who is wearing a ribbon, which is the two daughters and the brother, to please rise. If you please place it on above your heart. And we're going to recite the most difficult prayer. Most of our prayers are prayers of joyous gratitude. And now we recite a prayer accepting the difficult and a hard fact of loss. I'm going to ask you to recite with me this prayer in Hebrew and then in English. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Dayan Ha'emet. Praised are you, Adonai our God, who rules the universe, who is the judge of truth. And now I'm going to ask you to keep wearing it and then tear the ribbon lengthwise. Can you tear the ribbon lengthwise? Yes.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit's good. You don't have to.
I like that.
Yeah. And I'm going to ask you to take a ribbon with you for your mom and for your brother. Okay? Adonai Natan, Adonai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. Adonai has given, Adonai has taken. Praise be God's name. Amen. Please be seated. At this time, I'm going to ask that we lower the coffin. And I believe it's appropriate that we hear first from, is it Shirley that wrote the, yes, if you would share, please, why don't you stand here and share with us your reflections on your father. Turn around and face everybody.
I just want to start by thanking everyone for being here. I know there's a lot of people missing, but they're here with their hearts and spirits. I'm Shirley, and I'm the babychka of the family, as my dad would always say, and introduce me to everyone, his babychka. I can't believe I'm standing here today, having to say goodbye to the man I first loved, to the man that has my heart, and my soul, and my entire being, who taught me true unconditional love. I don't know how life is supposed to go on with such a big piece of my everyday life missing. He always had such a special and tender way of showing his love. He didn't even need to say it every day. We knew it. My mother, brother, sister, and I were his world, were his life. He was such a proud and loving grandfather of 7 beautiful grandkids. My parents would have been celebrating their gold 50th wedding anniversary this September. Their love was strong for each other and their family. A big part of my dad fighting this battle was having my mom there next to him, fighting with him every step of the way. Thank you, Mama, for taking the most exceptional care of Papa. He couldn't have been in better hands. He couldn't have had a better partner next to him. I think I had a feeling my older siblings would talk about how selfless and courageous he and my mom were to move to 2 different countries without knowing the language or having much at all. They left Riga, Latvia in 1972. They left their families behind to start their own family in Israel at the young age of 25. And in 1987, we came to America chasing the American dream. My mom and dad sacrificed everything for their kids to be able to give us a better life. The thought of moving from Sherman Oaks to Encino is so stressful, I can't even begin to imagine how it would be to move to a different country, not speaking the language, with small children. But we never felt their hardships. And today, being a mom of 2 boys, I always find it so hard to manage and balance my love and attention between my boys. And I think if you would ask my brother or sister or myself, my parents somehow made that part of parenting seem effortless. We always felt equal, even though we have a huge age gap. We always felt loved and bonded in the most special ways. My dad was a true family man. He worked so hard. Everything he did was all about us. My dad was so proud of his family. He was always so excited to introduce us to his clients. He would light up talking about and raving about his wife and kids and grandkids. But most of all, what brought my father so much happiness and fulfillment was the strong, close relationship between my siblings and I. He would always tell us how happy he is that we are so close and how important it was to him. I am sure that has a lot to do with his relationship with his brother. I couldn't be more happier that my dad and his brother were able to rekindle their relationship after 20 years. My uncle brought out an even softer side to my dad that I enjoyed so very much. In December of 2018, my brother, my parents, and I made a trip to Israel. We always talked about going back for years and years. It never made it happen. There aren't enough words to describe the immense gratitude I have for making that trip and memory with them. My dad was the happiest man being back in the home that has his heart. This past year has been one of the hardest years to witness. Through it all, my dad never stopped smiling. He never stopped joking and laughing. He stayed strong and positive, and he never complained. And he fought his battle like a true superhero. I will never forget how he was calming us down at the hospital, saying it will be okay. He will do everything he can to always be next to us. Papa, you did so much more. I couldn't be more proud of you. Before he went through surgery, I would come visit him every night after work. And the nurses would just rave about him and genuinely admire him. They would say, "You have the best papa." And I couldn't agree more. He was the best. And that's my dad. Smiling and positive at his worst and scariest times. So you can only imagine his charming, sweet, witty, friendly, and loving self. He loved life. He was full of life, with a big smile and a joke always. He lived to make everyone around him happy, secure, thought of, and loved. Every night I would go to bed, tears and pain, a pain I never felt before, and I would pray for him and try so hard to go back to a memory of him, of us. It would help me a little to go to sleep with happy memories during all the anxiety and worries and pain. I started to dig up old photos to just take me back. I would search through my laptop for pictures and videos. I would reread all of our history text messages. Oh, what I would do now to see a "Good morning, my beautiful daughter. Have a good day at work. No stress. Always smile." Text. I missed his surprise visits at work. If I was too busy for lunch, he would say, "Just come have a cup of coffee with me. I want to see you." And that's how I got through each day, remembering those moments. When my dad got diagnosed, he asked us, his children, to make sure we will take care of our mom. I stand here today, not saying goodbye, Papa, but you will always be next to me. I will never stop thinking of you. I will never stop talking about you, and I will never stop loving you. I will look for you everywhere I go. I will look for every and any sign of you. You have my heart, and I have yours. for eternity and beyond. We will always be connected, and I promise to always be next to Mama. We will care for her. We will lift her and support her and love her always. Please watch over all of us and say hi to our wonderful Jeda Grisha. Have a shot of vodka, and we will continue to make you proud. Rest in peace until we see each other again. I love you, Abba, Papa, Babichka, Mr. Zinman, Izia, our superhero for eternity and beyond. Love, your babichka.
This time I would like to ask if we have the earth from Israel. Do you have a packet of the earth? Okay, we'll move forward. At this time, I'd like to share with you some words from Tuvia. Tuvia, of course, wanted to be here today, but a decision to protect his mother and to make sure that we are sheltering in place. The emotional difficulty of saying that he would stay with his mom was a difficult one. But in the conversations that I've had mostly with Tuvia, he is a passionate rationalist. That is, he cares deeply, but he's also a rationalist. And he insisted that it was better for Sarah that he stay. And I want to share his thoughts. It's entitled, Papa Goodbye. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, we are going to do things a little different. I want to thank you, Papa, for all you did for us. For each and every one of us received your warmth, your wisdom, your guidance, your passion, your giving, your guidance, your passion, give it, and your love. Family was always the most important priority in your life. You were born in 1947 in Riga, Latvia. At the age of 24, you immigrated to Israel, and it's here where you learned and experienced to identify the process of becoming an Israeli. After 15 years in Israel, you decided to pursue the American dream, and it is where you end up living most of your life, in Southern California, Los Angeles. Also here is where your parents and your brother's family were finally reunited. 3 languages you had to conquer, 3 different cultures you had to learn, and all this was done that your family can have a better life. 3 children to raise means lots of responsibility and commitment. 3 weddings to plan, and 7 grandchildren are your fruits that you collected. I remember our phone calls, I remember our talks, I remember our trip to Israel, our coffee times, our walks at the beach, your New York visits, and last our Shabbat dinners. About our mama, your dear wife, you had been very lucky to meet such an incredible partner for your life journey. I witnessed with my own eyes how she was taking care of you all the way until the end. Papa, you showed us all how much you can fight the disease. You did all your best. We are proud of you. We are leaving your body now, but your soul is here forever. You will always be with us. Thank you for all you did for us. Love you always and forever. Rest in peace. Yehi Zichro Baruch.
Amen.
I want to add that when Tuvia and I spoke on the phone shortly before his father passed away, one of the most powerful moments was the fact that we discovered our common heritage in Riga. My dad was born in Riga, previous generation, 1923. The Riga Mafia, as they called themselves, were people that cared deeply about each other. I remember my first visit to Israel when, like so many young people, I volunteered and I fought the Battle of the Lul, the chicken coop, at Kibbutz Matsuba. But it was the meeting of the Riga Chevra, those Jews that had grown up in Riga and were proud of that culture's Jewish history and leadership. I visited Riga in 1975. I walked into a place called the Riga Hotel, and I looked at the paneling on the Riga Hotel, and I said to my wife, my dad did this. He had a certain way of doing things. And that's what reminds me of being here today with you. There was a certain way that people cared for each other, expressed their love, that was central to what I've learned about Izia. Not only from the speeches, but from the pattern of his life. The willingness to be very much like our ancestor Abraham, who left everything behind and went forth to discover the land of Israel and to respond at all times with optimism, with hope, with a sense that things will be okay. Things will work out. Those are the qualities that I found in not only my father, but in every one of the Riga Jews. They also had a very biting sense of humor, which kept them balanced and reminded everyone that things were important, things were serious, but a sense of humor helped even in the most difficult times. We will come back to this place in better times without masks, and we will gather to remember Izia. May the memory of his devotion to his family, to his love for his grandchildren, and I want to recall their names here, Livia and Hunan. Hunan's the cameraman. Have Taylor.
The cameraman is Shirley.
Did I get it mixed up?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's okay. It's Shirley. I'm sorry.
Nissan.
And his Hebrew name is Nisan. They have Shai Chaim and Liam Matan, and Livia has with her husband Taylor, Ranel, and Orel. Beautiful names.
Talor.
Talor?
Yes.
Okay, you left off the T when you wrote to me. It's okay.
I'm sorry.
We acknowledge the love and devotion of Sarai, through all these years. And at this point, we're going to recite the prayer that we call the El Malei Rachamim prayer. I'm going to ask you to rise. I didn't get to these kids' names, I'm sorry.
Mayan and Almog.
Mayan and Almog. Please rise for the El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromi, Amtzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Ashchina. במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת יצחק בן משה וחיה, שהלך לעולמו, בגן עדן תהיה מנוחתו. אנא בעל הרחמים, אז תראהו בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתו. אדוני הוא נחלתו, וינוח בשלום על משכבו, ונאמר Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Yitzchak, the son of Moshe and Chaya, who has gone to his eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved one find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May his soul be bound up in the bond of life. May he rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. This time, I'm going to ask if you would take this and open it and place it on the coffin, and if the two of you would take this and place it.
Wait, open it?
Come
Place
here.
it on the coffin.
It's our tradition that we take the earth from the land of Israel that Izia loved so much, and we place it in the grave to connect him to the land where he was, by all accounts, the most happy. Please pour it in. Yeah. If you have a shovel, don't pass it from one person to another. Each person takes a shovel and places in.
Then you go to either side. I'm going to ask you to. You can do it. Focus for a second. Hold on, I'll do it too.
Can we do this too when we put the land of Israel? Or
Say again?
can we do this when we put the land? We do it, yeah?
Yeah. recite the Kaddish twice. The first time is known as the burial Kaddish, and the second time as the mourner's Kaddish. The Kaddish is a prayer that comes to us from Aramaic, and it reminds us of the central teaching of Judaism. How shall we become a holy people? How shall we express the fact that while we are physically part animal, we are mentally and spiritually connected to the divine? How shall we achieve a life of holiness? In Jewish life, that meant the sanctification of holy dailiness. At every moment, we had the opportunity to raise up how we serve each other, how we serve God. I'm going to recite the first Kaddish, which is on page 11. And though we do not have a formal minyan, we are going to complete this way of honoring Izia. Traditionally, this prayer says nothing about death. It simply says that we acknowledge the teachings of holiness that a person embodied in their life. And the responsibility to recite the Kaddish begins with this time. First on page 11, if you want to join me, you're welcome to. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yomo divra atid l'achadata l'chayav l'taya l'askaa yadchod l'chaye alma l'mivna karta di Yerushalem l'shachlel hechlei v'gave v'l'ma'akar pulchanan nuchra'a me'ara l'atava pulchanan di shamaya l'atre v'yamlich kudsha b'richu ba'malchutei v'yikarei v'yatzmich purkanan v'yikarev mashichei. Amen. V'chaye chon v'yimei chon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael v'agalav zman kariv yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach yitpa'ar v'yitromam titnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiram v'yoma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi Shlom Rabba min Shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Yaseh shalom b'mroma hu yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom b'chol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. And now we recite the mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yomo divrach yerotei v'yamlich malchutei v'chaye chon v'yimei chon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael v'agalav zman kariv yimru. Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulmei olmaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata damiram v'yoma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi Shlom Rabba min Shamaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Yaseh shalom b'mroma hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. We conclude this brief service with the words Hamakom Yenachem Etchem B'toch Shalom V'Tziyun Yerushalayim. At a certain point, Izia and Sarah made the decision. They could have stayed in Riga, probably had an okay life, but they made the decision to go forth. And they joined the Jewish people in its most important creation, the state of Israel. And that was given as a legacy to their children. And it remains their inheritance. The willingness not only to go forth, but the connection to the Jewish people that was expressed by their parents. We acknowledge all the good deeds that Izia did in his life. Most of all, we acknowledge his love and devotion to his family. And we say to the family, Hamakom Yenachem Etchem, Tov Shar Avelei Tzion Yerushalayim. We are part of the Jewish people. We have a proud past. We have even a more illustrious future. Amen. So normally we would line up and they would dismiss everybody by having people walk through two lines. I'd like to thank the people from Cover Kadisha, and I'd like to invite everybody to go to their cars. No embracing in this situation, of course, and it's not proper for the family to thank, but it is appropriate to say that your presence means a lot to them. And they're going to be holding, I hope, some Zoom meetings and some opportunities for people during what would have been the Shiva to talk about Izia and to express their love and to tell stories and to remember his life.
Thank you. Concludes the service. Thank you.